You're listening to the Dungeons, Dragons, and Psychology Podcast. The Wizard, the architect of the unseen who weave magic through sheer intellect and discipline, their minds intricate labyrinths brimming with knowledge and the potential to bend reality to their will. I'm Robert Walker, author of Session Zero, the DMG to writing great campaigns in any system, and this is my show where I teach collaborative storytellers how to have more immersive campaigns using psychology. And today, we are delving into the world of knowledge and boundless potential, exploring the mind of the wizard. Now, don't forget, you can download the character sheet that I have made for this process. It is available on each of the episodes for leveling up in real life. You can find the link on this episode as well. Now let's talk about wizards. Wizards aren't just about flashy spells and cryptic pronouncements. They represent a philosophy of lifelong learning, critical thinking, and the ability to translate vast knowledge into precise actions. The real-life wizard, just like the fantastical counterpart, needs to cultivate a powerful mind and a nimble body. That's where their abilities come in, intelligence and dexterity. Now, intelligence represents their mental acuity, their thirst for knowledge, analytical skills. They want to understand the world around them at a deep level, dissecting its complexities and unlocking its secrets. And for the wizard, dexterity embodies their focus, their hand-eye coordination, and the ability to translate their thoughts into precise real-world action. A real-world wizard needs mental focus to channel their vast knowledge and the manual dexterity to bring that knowledge into existence, to share it through writing, or to use their body as the mechanism with which to share the knowledge they have acquired with the real world. Now remember, as we go about this process of leveling up in real life, we're going to be choosing a skill or an ability from the primary ability, which is going to be intelligence, and one or a couple from both. You can do more than one if you wish, from the secondary ability, which is going to be your dexterity. Now let's talk about first some of the things behind intelligence, igniting your intellectual powerhouse. Here are a few ways that you can cultivate your intelligence as you level up as a wizard. First, be a voracious learner, devouring books on science, mathematics, logic, philosophy. The more that you understand the world and the way that it operates, the more leverage you have to influence it. The wizard is the scholar, constantly expanding your knowledge base. That is what you're going to be doing as a wizard. So if you think in the real world, what are the wizards? Well, the wizards are sort of those who have become experts in a field. Those sort of represent what a wizard would look like. A wizard has acquired and accumulated all of this knowledge that they can share and use to influence the world. These are your intellectuals, or anyone who has done the process of gaining a plethora of expertise in a specific field. So choose something that you want to learn. That is going to be the real key for being a wizard. What is a specific thing you want to know about and you want to be an expert at? You also need to sharpen your critical thinking. So don't accept things at face value. Develop your critical thinking skills to analyze information objectively. You want to identify logical fallacies and form your own well-reasoned conclusions. By being a discerning student, you can question everything and seek the truth that underlies things. You also want to work on problem solving. A wizard shouldn't shy away from challenges. Approach problems from different angles, develop creative solutions, and think outside the box. No puzzle should be too perplexing for a very resourceful wizard. And you need to learn to conquer information overload. The modern world throws information at you all the time from all sides. So learning how to manage knowledge effectively, curate reliable sources, and prioritize information that's most relevant to you, that will help you sort of hone in on what it is you want to learn and block out the rest of the things that could be clouding your mind. Transform raw data into valuable insights. Now, what you choose as your knowledge is entirely up to you. It could be anything. You can choose to learn about anything as you're leveling up as a wizard. Choose something that you're passionate about, something that really sparks your interest, and something that maybe you don't really know a lot about, but you always have wanted to know about. When you think of the wizards class in D&D, especially throughout the editions, and you think about their knowledge, they're one of the few classes that get all knowledges available to them. They can learn about anything. And that's what is so potent about leveling up as a wizard. You can choose the intellectual portion of your path to be gaining knowledge on any topic. So choose something that is really, really passionate. So another way to do this is you can enhance your body awareness. You need to have control over your physical self. So any activity like yoga or dance or martial arts, all of those can enhance your body awareness and give you the ability to perform precise actions with precision. Imagine yourself like performing a graceful dance is very similar if you think of like the way that wizards are always depicted in moving intricately their hands and their bodies to cast these very intricate spells. So choose something that you are really passionate about, that really sparks your interest and will drive you to continue with your experience, with leveling up. You want that thing that is going to help motivate you because you are very interested in it. If you just pick something that say, oh, I want to learn another language, but you're really not that interested in the language you're choosing, or maybe learning a language really isn't something that you are that invested in right now, you're not going to get very far on your process. You want to have something that is motivating to you because you're inspired by it and you're passionate about it. Now let's talk about the dexterity portion of the wizard. For the wizard dexterity, it is mind and body harmony. So a way to think of dexterity for the wizard is to think about how are you ensuring that your mind and body are working in unison. First of all, one way to work on dexterity as a wizard would be to cultivate mental focus. A cluttered mind is a source of sloppy magic, or in the real world, that would be mistakes. Practice something like meditation or mindfulness exercises to enhance your focus and improve your concentration, reducing that mental clutter. Imagine yourself sort of channeling pure focus, being ready to cast your spells or share your knowledge, right? Next, sharpen your hand-eye coordination. Precision is very key. So thinking of activities like juggling or playing a musical instrument, or even playing video games that have complex mechanics, can improve your motor coordination and your fine motor skills. Think of yourself as meticulously drawing the intricate symbols needed to cast a spell. Now, this might manifest in very different ways depending on the intellectual skill that you're developing. Let me give you a real-life example of myself. There was a time about 6 or 7 years ago that I was really interested and wanted to learn and develop these skills of photography. So the intellectual part of that was learning about the parts of a camera, learning about the important things like lighting and ISO and aperture and shutter speed and all of the things that you need as an intellectual foundation of knowledge. But the dexterity was the practical application of that knowledge, right? It was the taking the camera out into the field and shooting pictures, using that mental fine coordination to get precise focus on the lens, to get low and find the perfect shot, or climb into an area that you otherwise would not be able to get a picture from if you weren't using your body to actively get there. So that is a good example of how to think of the mind and body working together. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't actually use your body in the world to share and use that knowledge, all it ever does is sit in your head. You're not really a wizard if you're not casting the spell. You need that somatic component. Next, you want to enhance body awareness. So you want control over your physical self. Any activity like yoga or dance or martial arts, things that can enhance your body awareness and give you the ability to perform actions with precision. I mean, just think of the similarities between someone performing a graceful dance and the depiction of wizards where they are moving their arms and bodies in an intricate fashion to elicit the proper components of a spell. And how often in movies and things like that is the montage of a wizard or a caster showing them how to get the hand movements right? Think of Doctor Strange, for example. Now, I think he embodies sort of the Marvel version of the wizard, and he had that whole process of learning to master the manual dexterity to be able to use his magic. It's the same for you in real life. You need to have whatever manual dexterity accompanies the knowledge that you are acquiring so that that knowledge can be shared with the world. It might be something as simple as learning good penmanship or learning how to type faster on a keyboard so that the way that you can share your knowledge is by blogging about it or writing about it. And the last piece I will say on dexterity for the wizard is mental dexterity, the ability to multitask. Wizards are often juggling multiple things at one time. They're concentrating on one spell from rounds earlier while using their action this round to cast a new spell. They have rituals that might be in place, and they're trying to observe and prepare their spells in a way so that they can effectively manipulate the battlefield during combat. So developing the ability to prioritize effectively and learning how to switch your focus efficiently between different tasks is sort of how to orchestrate your wizard mindset, effortlessly coordinating your mental and physical actions. Now, this is a hard thing to learn, but as you become more efficient at the thing that you have chosen to learn about as your wizard's knowledge, that will become easier. Think of like a guitar player when they first start learning to play a few chords or pluck a few strings. That task alone can be quite difficult. It consumes a very large amount of their mind and their thinking power. But as they become more proficient, they start playing more effortlessly. They learn to have their body starts to move on its own. That dexterity component sort of takes over, and the muscle memory becomes so good to the point that they can now start to sing while they play because they no longer have to focus on the hand movements once their body has learned it. So it's sort of like that. The wizard needs to be so competent in a skill that it becomes sort of second nature to them. And that's how you develop that mental dexterity, the ability to process and do more than one thing at a time. Now, I mentioned the wizard's mindset just a moment ago. Let's talk about that a little bit more, because being a wizard isn't just about the impressive feats that are magical in nature or look magical when they're observed. It's about a lifelong journey of learning and self-improvement. So there are a few ways to help cultivate that mindset of a true wizard. First, embracing curiosity and inquiry. Everything is a potential gateway to knowledge. So ask questions, explore your world with an inquisitive mind, and delve into the subjects that spark that intellectual fire within you. Be a perpetual student, always hungry for new knowledge, and fuel innovation with experimentation. Wizards push boundaries. Don't be afraid to experiment with new ideas, explore unconventional solutions, and challenge the status quo. Be a pioneer and venture into uncharted intellectual territory. If you think of the school process in higher education, this is the process of earning a PhD. You have to develop new research and provide new knowledge to the field that you're working in. That is the task of a doctoral student. You are creating new knowledge for the world to embrace, to learn about, to further the knowledge base of whatever it is that you're studying. So that is sort of the wizard's task, is to create new knowledge by understanding so much of what already exists. You can develop discipline and self-control. So mastery is a thing that takes dedication. Developing a strong work ethic, and if you prioritize your study and minimizing distractions that might impede your progress, being a stoic scholar, unwavering in your pursuit of knowledge, is a way to show that you are disciplined and to embody that wizard mindset. And I would just say, as part of this, it would be important to know that true knowledge lies in recognizing what you don't know. So being open to new perspectives and having the ability to see that you can learn from others, you can learn from everyone, and acknowledge that the vastness of knowledge has yet to be explored. Be a humble sage, always seeking to expand your understanding. Now, as we have done with each of our other classes, and we will continue to do as we go along, I want to share with you some resources based on the rule of three, or the 3 books that might help you along this process. Now, even if you already have a pretty good idea of what sort of knowledge base you would like to improve or acquire in your path to becoming a real-life wizard, I would still highly recommend each one of these 3 books. They're incredible. The first one is A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. Now, this book offers an accessible exploration of the universe and talks about all sorts of things from the Big Bang Theory to the human body. And just reading through it is going to give you a plethora of ideas about things you could study in greater depth. The next one is Gödel Escher Bach, An Eternal Golden Braid by Douglas R. Hofstadter. Now, this book is wild. It explores the connections between mathematics and logic and music and art. And what's really interesting about it is it is a wonderful exploration that gets to the heart of cognitive science. Okay. And what's really cool about it is it sort of lays out the process of how machines will likely eventually gain human-like intelligence and reasoning. And really, really fascinating read, and will give you a lot of things to think about. And the last one, one of my favorites, is How Not to Be Wrong, The Power of Mathematical Thinking by Jordan Ellenberg. And this one is basically takes the science and the questions and everything that's the insights that have been gained by the scientific and academic community out there and translates it into understandable language for the layman, and teaches you how to think mathematically so that you can answer questions like that on your own. It's very useful and very wizardly in nature, in my opinion. So I'll put the Amazon links for those books in this episode. You're free to check them out if you want to. If you don't have any interest in any of those and you already have a very clear idea of what you want to do, find 3 books on the subject that you're going to be working on. Remember, that rule of 3 basically states that if you read 3 books from 3 different authors on a subject that you want to know about, you will know more than 90% of the world on that subject, making you a quote-unquote expert compared to the general population of the world on that subject, just by reading 3 books. That's what the whole rule of 3 theory is. There's also a couple of other places I would suggest that a wizard might spend some time. One of them would be Coursera. where they have online courses on a ton of different topics taught by prestigious universities and institutions and individuals. And then the next would be Khan Academy, which offers free online courses on a very wide range of subjects, science, mathematics, languages, computer programming. So check those out. And if you just need like a source of inspiration, or you just want to start learning something, those are two great places to jump in. Additionally, check out TED Talks. You can spark a lot of different curiosities and listen to some very inspiring things on diverse subjects there, science and technology and all sorts of angles of the human experience. And really quick, before we get into the 3-month wizard level up plan, let's just talk about a couple of things that might come up as roadblocks or challenges in your way, hurdles that you might have to overcome. First, information overload. Like, the sheer volume of information that is available on almost any subject you want to learn about is going to be massive. So work on those critical thinking skills to discern reliable sources from the noise. Focus on quality over quantity and curate a trusted knowledge base. Really hone in on specifics. If the subject you want to learn about is too broad, then start by focusing on a smaller subset of that topic. You don't have to look at the whole picture all at once. Start with a very small piece. And then there's complexity. I mean, the universe is vast and intricate. Don't get discouraged. Break down complex concepts that you might be working on into smaller, more manageable pieces. This is the same advice I give for goal setting. If you have a huge goal, you may not achieve it because you're too worried looking at the big picture. But if you break down one big goal into smaller, manageable goals, that's what breaking complexity down is as well. Break it all down into small pieces, understand the one small piece, and then move on to the next piece until you start seeing how the puzzle all fits together and what the picture is that the puzzle is making. Celebrate those small victories as you gradually build your understanding. You might find things that you are not understanding on your own, and you might want to seek help from a mentor or a teacher. Remember, the most renowned wizards usually started by learning from another wizard of higher level and teaching them magic and spells and helping them scribe scrolls into their own spell book. You need to acquire the foundation of knowledge from somewhere else before you start building your knowledge. I think, even though he can be a little bit controversial right now, Elon Musk, he uses the rule of 3 over and over and over again. I mean, when asked how he was able to develop rockets to go explore space, he said because he read a lot. I mean, he's not a rocket scientist, but he read basically everything that was available on rocket building and rocketry and physics, and understood things just by learning and acquiring knowledge piece by piece by piece. And then, as he developed enough knowledge, he also surrounded himself with people who knew what they were doing and what they were talking about, used their knowledge to enhance his own knowledge to start creating rockets that eventually our United States government decided, oh, we should hire him because his process is better than ours. Okay, let's talk about our 3-month plan to jumpstart your journey as a real-life wizard. Now, this one, like the rogue, can be extremely varied based on what it is that you're trying to acquire, what knowledge it is you're trying to expand. So your first month should just be building your knowledge foundation. Find the core subjects, especially those that are related to the overall skill that you're trying to develop, and dedicate 30 minutes a day to learning the science or the history or the math of that topic, and read a nonfiction book, probably if you can, every week or 2 on that subject. Challenge yourself with critical thinking exercises and engage when you're ready in online discussions. Find some forums or groups that are talking about this topic and get up to speed with what the current conversation on the topic is. This will help solidify your understanding. And then also incorporate a little bit of mindfulness practice to sharpen your focus and mental clarity. replay that knowledge in your mind and sort of try and explain it to yourself or to someone else. Sometimes you learn the most when you're trying to explain other things. It's also a great way to make connections that you may not have seen before. In month 2, you're going to be sharpening those mental tools. So here you want to enhance your focus, work more on your problem solving, look for gaps in the knowledge base on what you're studying. If you're still not quite settled on exactly what it is that you want, then try spending that month doing some strategic things. Maybe play some chess or some logic puzzles, or download an app to enhance your critical thinking skills. They have a number of them. If you have figured out exactly what it is, spend month 2 figuring out how to develop the dexterity practice that is going to go along with the mental practice. So if you are trying to learn a language, the dexterity practice could literally be doing tongue stretches and practicing making the sounds that are not unique, or that are not in your native tongue. For example, if you are an English speaker and you wanted to learn Spanish, learning to roll your R's would be a good dexterity practice that would go along with the skill that you're developing. Also, at this time, do something that requires body awareness, like a yoga or a martial arts or a stretching, or practice archery, or something that is going to work on hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills. And start at this time thinking about how can you apply this knowledge to the real world, which is going to take you into month 3, which is going to be further practice and collaboration and bringing your knowledge into the world. So at this point, you should be engaging with forums online. You should be adding to the discussion. You should be at a level of knowledge now where you can at least talk about what you're learning with other people who know about the topic. So when you join these forums or you've been following them, start sharing what you're learning. Ask questions about your own process and learn from others. If there are workshops available or mentors available, take this time to really go the extra mile. Go to a workshop. Go work with a mentor. Have somebody who can teach you the intricate details of the skill you're trying to learn. And finally, I want you to embark on a project-based journey. So on your topic, research it thoroughly and then create like a presentation or a blog post or a video essay or a YouTube video to share your insights and share them with the world. You could consider collaborating with others on this project as well if there's others in your field who want to talk to you, but do something that shares the knowledge you've acquired, because that is part of continuing the foundation of knowledge, adding back, giving back to the scientific community, even if it doesn't have anything to do with science. Just give back to the community of knowledge in whatever it is that you're acquiring, because your insights will be important. Everyone has something to share. Even within 3 months, you will be surprised as you start learning something. If you're dedicating time and attention to it every day and you are practicing and learning, you will have insights that are worth sharing. And remember, though, this is just the beginning. This is just the first 3 months. Keep reviewing and adjusting your plan based on your progress and the challenges that you come along. Remember that when you hit those milestone goals you've made on your character sheet, increase your stat, increase your ranks in your skill, level up, acknowledge those efforts and embrace that this is a lifelong journey of learning. You will have setbacks, but you're going to have countless opportunities to learn and grow. By cultivating your intellect, your focus, and your thirst for knowledge, you will transform yourself into a master of mind and magic, ready to explore the vast potential of the universe. Remember that the true power of the wizard lies not in spells and arcane knowledge, but in the relentless pursuit of understanding and the unwavering dedication to using that knowledge. So unleash your inner wizard, embrace the challenges, and embark on an adventure that is truly magical. So that is it for today, Psyclithids. Thank you so much for joining me on this level up in real life journey. As always, you can find me on Instagram at dungeons_dragons_psychology. There's also a link at the bottom of the show notes, maybe at the top of the show notes, I'm not sure. But there's a link that you can text the show now, so you can ask questions directly, share your own insights, give me ideas of what you'd like to see for episodes in the future. And as always, I will see you next session.